look down here, the weekly candle just closed 3 minutes ago. And so one of the things that I want to point out really quickly here is, and shout out to CryptoCred on Twitter he pointed this out a couple weeks ago, but it was a really good observation. So you can see once we started this big bear trend that we've been experiencing, if you look at the candle right here at the beginning of January, starting right here, we had two big swings down, a stop in momentum, and then another big swing down. And then this candle right here is what you call a doji. And it's same with this one right here. They're both dojis, but they're neutral. They're candlesticks with a neutral pattern behind them. So if we look at this stretch of 5 candles that we see a pretty similar reaction right here. So again, we have 2 bigger momentum swings down, stop or consolidation, if you will, and then another big swing push down. And then again here, this weekly close just closed as another doji. So as you can see, the wicks on this doji are quite a bit longer, but any candle that has a close and an open very close to each other is considered a doji candle. So with that being said, I think that there's a good chance that this week we could see this 6th candle in this pattern. So just wanted to point that out to everyone before we dive in. So on a daily level, the story is still a little bit more, or still convincing in that sense. I know last week I pointed out to everybody 2 weeks ago, the green uptrend that we were starting to see. And right now that's providing really good support for Bitcoin. So I could see us making a play this week back up to try to see if we can break out of this very long red downtrend that we've had. To look at some more indicators, RSI is it's just touched off the oversold level. For me to turn more bullish, I would need to see us break above this resistance here for daily RSI, and then also again start seeing some big momentum swings through the resistance that we're seeing, and then testing again for the support, and again having that support hold. To switch over to Ether really fast. Ether this week has basically been consolidating and holding right above the 350 price level. This 350 level we're gonna have a hard time breaking through that, in my opinion, because as you can see, as Ether was coming up back here, at mid 2017 and all the way through most of 2017, we hit this 350 to 400 level 3 times here before we were able to break back above it. So going back below it, as I know I've been mentioning in the past, when we hit resistance, once we finally break through that resistance, it turns into support. So this is a perfect example of this going along over, almost a year now of hitting this $350, $400 support or resistance, sorry, and now it's acting as support over here. On top of that, we see RSI for Ether extremely oversold, which again is another reason why I have pretty high conviction that this 350 level will hold. So that's kind of just a quick recap of the week and just some of the trends I've been seeing with TA. In terms of more market news, I kind of want to open this up to everybody, see if anybody had any big things that they've noticed this week. One of the interesting articles that stuck out to me was that Bitmain this week confirmed that they were releasing E3 chip, or a new ASICs miner. They're calling it the Antminer E3, that is supposedly better for processing Ethereum transactions. So I thought that was really interesting. Has anybody else heard anything about that or Any other news that people would like to bring up?
Yeah, I did hear about that, and seems like um, seems like Bitmain's been churning out a lot of these different miners. For instance, they developed one specifically for Monero's hashing algorithm, and Monero actually had a successful hard fork to make them ASIC resistant. So it was pretty incredible seeing like the community turn around that fast and say, "Hey, we want to keep this as decentralized and as low of a barrier to entry as possible." Um, and I don't know if it's going to be that easy to get Ether to do the same thing because they're just not as agile as some of these smaller coins like Monero. But I'm sure the thoughts out there in the community of being as decentralized as possible.
Yeah, that that makes sense. I know in the one of the articles I was reading, Vitalik said that like in the past he's stated that no algorithm is completely immune to ASICs forever. But I know there's a lot of speculation that this E3 chip that Bitmain actually came out with actually makes that noticeable of a difference. So I think there's still a lot of speculation, at least in the Ethereum community, that Bitmain actually created something that is going to have such a big impact as their, I mean, for example, their A6 chip for SHA-256, for example.
Yeah, maybe we should buy one. I think they're like $800 price tag, so reasonable.
Yeah, I read $600 to $800.
So really not that bad.
I know for a miner, especially if it's gonna be that optimized.
Oh yeah. I wonder how quickly the market will flood though.
Yeah, and you always have like that manufacturing bottleneck.
Yeah, true. The only market news that I saw was Vinrock, the $3 billion firm, Rockefeller's firm.
Oh yeah.
They're starting to invest in cryptocurrencies. So I'm wondering if we might start seeing some bigger whales start to join the community as we have reached lower lows.
Yeah, and there's speculation on Soros investing as well.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, so I think there was another large, more traditional capital management firm that was looking at investing. But
okay.
This to your point, it does look like some money's coming in that way.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost a matter of time before all that stuff happens. I know also JP Morgan spun off of Quorum, which I think that's pretty interesting too.
Yeah, and Amber Valdez left as well.
Oh, she did? So she's on Quorum?
Yeah, she was the product lead of the Blockchain Excellence Center.
Okay.
Morgan, so basically the Quorum lead.
Yeah, I saw that her Twitter bio now says unemployed. So I was wondering what that was.
Working on some.
Yeah, I think she's fine.
Startup somewhere. But, yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Anybody else got any noteworthy news?
I read this week that BitPico created a attacking framework to basically start to like stress test the Lightning Network. But apparently they didn't really tell anybody about it, so people were kind of annoyed about that.
I feel like that'd be the best way to attack, or at least test the network, because in a real life simulation, you're not gonna have a heads up. Hey, I'm about to.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like, hey guys, hold on, we're getting hacked real quick.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, Russia sends an email, a generous email.
That's cool though. You know how the test held up?
Sorry, what?
You know how the stress test held up?
According to BitPico, they've done 22 different attack vectors have been found. And most of the attacks that they were doing were basically DOS attacks. And so if anyone's familiar with that, it's basically where you drown a server with so much traffic that it crashes under the load. Garrett, if you have a better way of explaining that, please jump in.
No, yeah, that's exactly right.
And the problem with the problem with the Lightning Network is that right now nodes can't currently disconnect from channels that are spamming, and so it just puts a big toll on the network overall and slows it down. But really, BitPico said they're trying to prevent zero-day vulnerabilities. But yeah, I agree with you, Garrett. I think that's the best way to stress test the network. Others got kind of annoyed, according to the CoinDesk article.